Welcome back to Homa Studio, to our fourth video in our Using Figma as an Illustrator Alternative series. And what we're doing is just making a pair, making a vector pair. And that's something I do in classes where I'm introducing vector art, whether it's using Illustrator or other graphic design tools. And that's something I'll do with graphic design classes, computer graphics classes, even technology classes where I'm introducing students to technology like vector art. So we're working with vector art right now just as we would in Illustrator, and I'm going to make this look like a pair by giving it a color like a pair, giving it some kind of gradient. So I'm going to click on here, and to change the color I'll go down to Fill over here, and they have icons now. They didn't have them in the past, but there's an icon for gradient, so I'll choose that, and it just makes a basic gray and black gradient. And you can go up to linear and change it to radial. And I'm going to grab this little highlight, the little circle here, move it up here, and I'll move this down here. Now I don't want a gray and gray pair, I want it with a color. So I'm going to click on this color first, and I'll kind of go in here into the yellow area, go into yellow green, whatever. I'll go up here and give it that color, and then I'll click on this one. You can click on either place, here or here. I'll click here, and then I'll move my slider into the kind of green area, and then I have to click over here and I'll kind of go down. I don't want it too dark, and if I want this a little more yellow, I could go here and move this a little more in the yellow. And another thing I could do, if I want to move this over and add another color to the bottom, sometimes I add a little red color for shadow, or a darker green, whatever you want to do. I'll add a red, and it's coming up as a dark red, which is fine. That's kind of what I want. Now it's kind of adding that red color at the bottom of my gradient. Now this can be a little tricky. I'm going to go in the opposite direction to kind of move it over there and stretch it out. So there's only just a little bit of red showing. And if I want another color in here, I can click here, or I can click right on here. And maybe I can kind of make a deeper color here. I can maybe go a little more yellow if I want to do that. This one can maybe go a little more white if I want. Lighten that up a little bit. That kind of looks like a pair color, and I'm good with that. So I'm going to hit this X here for color and take me out of that. If I ever want to edit it, I just click on radial, and I can edit my colors up here. So I think that works pretty easy. I think it's easier than Illustrator. And that's my pair shape. So what I'm going to do next is make a leaf. And that's pretty easy. I'm just going to go to my basic shape tools here and make an ellipse. And I'll just draw one right here. Now it's going on top of my pair, and that's okay. And I could drag it down a little, and I can edit it, edit object, or I could double click on it. Let's see if I can double click on it. Yeah, it'll still let you edit it even though I didn't flatten it yet. And what I'm going to do is take my bend tool. Let's see if this works if I click on it. Oh yeah, if I click on it with the bend tool, it'll suck in the handles. Now, be careful to get off the bend tool. Now, again, this is the bend tool. And let me do that again, just so you saw what I did. I selected this, and then I used the bend tool, and I clicked on it one more time. And it sucked in the handles. Now, you can also use the bend tool, like the convert tool in Illustrator, to drag on a point. But that's not what I want to do right now. So I have that, and I want to go back. Make sure you get off the bend tool and go back here. And then I could just kind of maybe pull this out a little bit. Now this is no mirroring, so I want to put it on mirror angle so it could kind of make like a little teardrop shape. I could bring it down a little bit. And then maybe I'll grab this point, bring it down a little bit, give a little more of a teardrop shape. I mean, it's a leaf, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'll drag that out a little bit. This point is no mirroring, so I'm going to put it on mirror angle. And then when I grab it again, they'll work together. So I'll kind of do it like that. And then maybe I'll just bring it in here. Now remember, you don't want to be on the bend tool when you do that. Kind of like the convert tool, but you can also bend areas in the middle, which I'll show you. So that's fine right now. I'll hit done because I'm done editing the vector shapes. I'll give it a green color. I'll go down here. I have green showing up here, but if you didn't have green there, you could go here, just look for a dark green. And if you want to make a gradient on it, you can go to the gradient icon here. And it's using dark green and light green. That's perfect. If you want to swap them, just move one here or move it there. Now they do have a swap thing here. I could have done that as well. Let me try that out so I can show you how to use the swap. Here's the swap. That just flipped them around. And I can then maybe move this over here, move this over here. Now it's hard to see right now. Let me move over. Now I'm not sure how I want my leaf yet, so I'm going to wait until I get it in place to do more with the gradient. So I'll close this. And I'm not sure how the leaf would go. You could just hover around the outside, do something like that. Make it a little smaller. Now it does look a little too bright right there, and actually the highlight should be up there. So let me go back into the color by clicking here, and actually I'm going to swap them again. And this time I'm going to put the light color up here and the darker color down here. Very subtle. I don't want it really noticeable, and I'll kind of make it a little more muted, the lighter color. I think I'm on I'm on the darker color, but that's okay. I'll go on the lighter color now, and I'll make that a little more muted so it doesn't look so bright green. Go down here a little bit, and I should say desaturated is the term I should use. I'll go down here, make this a little darker green, give it a little more saturation. That looks okay. Not perfect, but it's alright. If you want it lighter, if you want this thing a little lighter, just go here, move it closer to the light area. You could make it a radial as well, but it's fine being a linear gradient right now. I'm okay with that. And if you want to throw a little drop shadow under it, we'll jump ahead to some advanced options here. I can scroll down. Let me click on this again. And I'm looking for effects. Here's effects. I'll just add an effect. Drop shadow is the default one that comes up. And if I click on the little icon for drop shadow, it's on 4 to the right, 4 down, and it's 25%. So I'll maybe make it 5. I think you could tab here, and I'll put 5. And then I'll go here in between, this little area in between the 25% and the color. I'll just take it up a little, make it a little darker. So take it up to maybe closer to 40%, something like that. So it's a little darker shadow. That's okay. And if you want more of a blur, you could hover over the word blur and blur it more, blur it less. There's more blur. Here's less blur. More, less. I'll keep it just right. So there's my leaf. I still don't like the color of my leaf. I think it should have more of that color. If I want to change that, I could go down here. I'll bring a little more saturation in it so it matches the pear itself. Although pears probably aren't that green. They should be a little more yellow. In fact, I could go back and change that, but I'd have to select on this shape. But that's my leaf. And let's go here. If I want to go back to my gradient, and I don't want this so green, I can go back and put it in the yellow a little bit more, lighten it a little bit more, and that looks a little more pear-like. And that's fine. Now my leaf looks a little unrealistic. The dark green's okay. This is a little more, I don't like it at all. Looks a little too saturated, so I'll go up here. Now it's starting to not look like a leaf. A hint of highlight there. That's okay. So again, working with gradients, you have to, take some time to do that and get used to it, and also just some skill in matching colors. So I'll go back here. There's my basic pear shape. And notice, I didn't have to save. You don't have to save as you're going. It's going to auto-save. And this thing is an ellipse, and you could name it leaf if you want, since it's a leaf. And also what you could do, if you group these, the leaf and the pear, I'm going to group them. Actually, what I'll do is I'll call this pear body, because that's the body of the pear. And this is my leaf. If you highlight both of those, or highlight them together, you could highlight things here, or you could basically go here and hold Shift, highlight both of them there, and group them. You could do Command G, I believe. Let's see what it is. File, Edit, Object. It's under Object, Group Selection, Command G. That's what I thought. Now, this is a group, but it's also acting like a layer group or a layer folder. So I can call this pear. I don't have to keep it called group. I'll just call it pear. And now within my pear, I have the leaf, I have the body. So it's a good way to just kind of bring things together. So groups kind of consolidate elements on layers. So leaf, body, now I need a stem. So we'll finish this up in the next video. We'll make a little stem, and then I'll show you how to export it as a PDF. I'll show you how to share it and show you how cool Figma is. So that'll be in our next video.